Alright, so after getting the leaves off of my sassafras tree, I left them on, let them dry, and usually it just took like about a day, 24 or 48 hours to dry on a newspaper on my table. And then I just kind of used my fingers and crunched them up in a big bowl to get them about this size right here. And so what I'm doing, then I let them set for a little while longer just to make sure they were really good and dry after having them in this bowl. And then I've been using my mortar and pestle to make them in, grind them up into a powder. Now, sassafras tree is used to make, of course, sassafras tea. It's like root beer, what they used to use to make root beer. That's a whole nother topic that I really won't go into because my tree is very small. It's probably about 5 or 6 foot tall, and I noticed it last year kind of came up involuntarily behind my compost pile, and I noticed it, and I had learned about that through my Master Gardener course. Is my sassafras tree that those have 3 distinctive leaves on the same tree and even on the same branch. And I've kind of noticed that with this tree when it's only about 2 or 3 feet tall. Well, it has grown like 2 or 3 more feet just this year, this spring. And so I decided to go ahead and harvest some of the sassafras leaves. So I did. I went and just cut some leaves off, and I'm not going to harvest the roots yet because they do say that there's like a mother tree, and then when the mother tree gets up to a certain size, it'll start putting out, sending out runners under the ground and having more little sassafras trees come up. And if you wait to when those are coming up, then you won't ever really damage your mother tree by digging up the roots. You can just harvest those little seedling trees that are coming up and getting the root from that. So that's kind of what we're doing. We're not even messing with that. So anyways, I've just been grinding this up with my mortar and pestle. And yes, I could use my food processor, but my son bought me this for Christmas, and so I've been wanting to use it, and I've used it a lot here lately with pounding up my herbs. It just makes me feel like I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. I really kind of like it. It's kind of brings me back to the way that, you know, people used to have to do it, and you appreciate it a lot more when you have to go to all this trouble of doing this. Okay, so I've kind of ground up this. There's still some pieces in there a little bit bigger, but I'll show you what I do. So this sassafras leaves actually make filet for filet gumbo, which is a thickener for sauces. It makes your sauces thicken, and it's kind of a seasoning as well. There's kind of a shadow there. So I've just been sifting this out. And then these are kind of like all the little stems and stuff. So I just throw those away. And then I'm left with this green filet powder. Of course, it takes a lot of leaves to, you know, get very much filet. And then I just take what I've ground up, get it out with this spoon. And then I'm just sifting it into this bowl. I'm probably going to give some of this to my son-in-law. His family is, a lot of his family has Cajun origins and roots, and so he does a lot of Cajun cooking. So I thought this would be a good thing to give give to him. So a lot of stems and stuff. Just gonna chunk that, and then we start over. And this is what I'm doing. And I'll show y'all the finished product. But I had a full bowl of leaves here pretty much before I started. And so it's going pretty quick. So look around for your sassafras trees. The other thing that I noticed about the tree that I haven't noticed anybody talking about is it kind of grows like an umbrella. Like there's a center point at the top of the tree and all the leaves kind of come out from that center point, and then it moves down and it does, you know, all the limbs come out from that center trunk, and so it's kind of like an umbrella. And it really says that it doesn't really matter whether you use the older leaves or the younger leaves. And my tree is not very old, so all my leaves are pretty young leaves. But it has the 3 different distinctive leaves on the sassafras tree, and that's one way to tell that it's a sassafras tree. It has a leaf that looks like a mitten. It has a leaf that looks like a dinosaur's foot, and then it has just the regular single lobe leaf. So if you get all 3 of those, and it's all on, those could all be on one limb or just on the tree, you have a sassafras tree. And some of the things that I was reading about the sassafras tree, that back in like the 1600s, the sassafras was considered an herb that could cure anything. It's a panacea, I think is what they called it. That it just cured so many things. So in Europe, that's what this was considered, was a panacea, that it just was the cure-all for everything. Well, because of that, in North America was so abundant in sassafras, it actually became an export back in like the 1600s, and it was actually a bigger export than cotton and tobacco and anything else. One of our biggest exports was sassafras. And because of that, so many of the sassafras trees were killed, because you had to kill the tree to get the sassafras root. So it's not an endangered species, but it's not as prolific as what it should be. And it is kind of, it's almost at the endangered species list. So that's another reason why I'm letting mine grow. And in Texas, there's only a few counties in the East Texas that have sassafras trees. It's not even found much. It's not found at all in the West, the actual tree. So it is kind of it is an eastern tree, and it's not, if you look on the tree list of where it's found, it's not past East Texas. In Texas, it's not really found very past that. We're like one of the, and as far as Texas goes, we're one of the most northern counties it's found in. So go looking for a sassafras tree. And they also say in the fall, the leaves turn a beautiful orange. So it's very decorative. So I'm excited to see it in the fall. One of the other things is, you can see, I've seen people that have harvested it in the fall when the leaves are that gold color, that orange color, and the sassafras is kind of more of an orange color than this green color. So you can use the Filet is more of an orange color than this green color. So both ways it can be harvested at both times of the year, apparently. So just wanted to show y'all my sassafras, in my filet and show y'all what I am doing. One of the herbs that I've harvested and foraged off of our property, and I encourage y'all to do the same. Start looking around. There's amazing what's actually out there that could be on your own property right now that you had no idea. I had no idea that sassafras is where filet come from. And look how bright and green that powder is. Isn't that pretty? Isn't that a pretty powder? All right, so thanks for visiting with me, and I'll talk at y'all later. Bye-bye.